To understand the modern financial trap, we begin with Zoey. She is a 27-year-old travel magazine editor operating in a high-cost urban center like Brooklyn. On paper, her position projects success. She holds a prestigious professional role and earns a high absolute income. Yet her accumulated net worth is zero. She operates entirely inside a relentless paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. The moment her gross income is deposited, it is immediately extracted. The capital drains directly into a fixed set of liabilities: premium urban rent, structural student loans, and carrying costs for credit card debt. She is caught in the treadmill paradox. Professionals in this state expend massive energy advancing in their careers, securing promotions and raises, yet they make zero measurable progress in their actual net wealth generation. Earning a high salary cannot solve a systemic financial deficit if the underlying architecture of how that capital flows remains structurally flawed. This horizontal timeline illustrates the workday allocation model. It maps a standard 9-to-5 workday to track exactly where a professional's daily wage is distributed in real time. From 9 a.m. until 11:30 a.m., all earnings generated by the worker are immediately extracted by government taxes. From 11:30 a.m. until 2 p.m., the capital earned is strictly allocated to landlords and utility companies to maintain housing. Throughout the entire afternoon, from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., the remaining earnings are entirely consumed by operational costs, transportation, food, and minimum debt payments. The workday concludes at 5 p.m., with net retained capital sitting at exactly zero. To build wealth, you must architecturally flip the flow of capital. You have to reallocate the very first hour of your daily earnings directly into confounding vehicles before any external liabilities are paid. Paying yourself first is a rigid structural inversion of daily cash flow. It is the necessary mechanism required to escape the extraction cycle. This reallocation strategy begins by identifying the Latte Factor, the microcapital permanently lost to trivial, habitual daily expenditures. We can calculate the exact annual cost of Zoey's baseline habit. A standard $5 daily double shot espresso equates to an outflow of $1,825 every single year. This curve demonstrates compound interest. Projecting in $1,825 annual input against a 10% return, accumulation accelerates. After 10 years, the money totals $30,727. After 30 years, it scales to $339,073. Reaching the 40-year asymptote generates nearly $1 million entirely by retaining microcapital. Expanding the mathematical model to optimize the variable yields even higher outputs. Cutting multiple daily habits, like coffee and takeout lunches, pushes this 40-year projection over $3 million. Every daily purchase functions as a strict mathematical choice. You are deciding between immediate micro-consumption and future exponential value. Knowing the math is insufficient. Traditional, discipline-based budgeting systems are statistically prone to high failure rates. Budgeting relies entirely on executive function. This cognitive resource fractures under the daily cognitive load and behavioral fatigue of making continuous financial decisions. The systemic solution to this willpower fatigue is behavioral. This flowchart demonstrates the exact operational setup required. Automatic transfers must trigger the exact moment payroll is deposited. The system instantly routes investment capital into 401ks, IRAs, or targeted accounts, leaving only the remainder for checking. Automation guarantees behavioral compliance. By removing investment capital before you can even perceive it, you eliminate the psychological pool of discretionary income that drives impulsive spending. We can test if this mathematical outcome remains consistent across different demographic variables, like age or initial savings rates. This data dashboard tests the variables. First, Maria swaps a $3 daily bottled water habit for tap water, saving $50 a month. Redirected to retirement at 7%, it yields $26,584 over 20 years. Testing the vice variable, James redirects a $7 a day smoking habit. That $150 a month invested at 10% yields $474,720 over a 30-year horizon. Testing the late-stage variable, Raj, aged 45, redirects a $1 daily soda habit into a 529 plan at 10%. He yields $6,145 in a highly compressed 10-year window. The framework also applies to fixed leaks, known as the double latte variable. Canceling unused baseline subscriptions, like a $50 cable package or a $40 magazine bundle, instantly increases the capital input. The extreme baseline for this math originates with author David Bach's grandmother, Rose. She became a self-made millionaire by investing exactly $1 a week over the course of her lifetime. The absolute size of the initial capital input is mathematically secondary. The determining factor for wealth generation is the uninterrupted length of the compounding horizon. Professional skepticism frequently targets this framework. Critics often argue that the financial system is rigged and that a 10% historical market return is a myth. These side-by-side bar charts demonstrate the mechanical counterargument. Tax-deferred accounts, like a 401k or IRA, allow pre-tax dollars to compound at maximum velocity by eliminating annual tax drag. Furthermore, employer match programs represent mathematically free capital. This immediate injection of funds effectively offsets instances of short-term market volatility. You must also recognize the destructive mirror to this equation: compound debt. It fuels the big hat, no cattle paradox, displaying high outward consumption while carrying massive negative leverage. Consider the credit card trap. Paying only the minimum on a $20,000 balance requires 18 years to clear the ledger, costing you more than double the initial principal in interest alone. Debt minimums are highly engineered extraction systems. They are designed to leverage the exact same compounding math to enrich institutional lenders directly at your expense. Zoey confronts a new paradox when she is offered a higher-paying job at a media agency. She assumes this increase in top-line revenue will finally cure her financial anxiety. However, increasing absolute income typically scales the cost of living. Higher taxes, more expensive housing, and increased discretionary spending often absorb the entire raise. Zoey's manager, Barbara, reveals her own multimillionaire status was achieved on a standard salary. She explains that without a system for capital retention, a larger paycheck simply increases the speed of the treadmill without producing forward momentum. Automated capital retention, rather than top-line income, dictates the actual rate of wealth accumulation. Capital is stored energy. It remains useless until it is purposefully deployed toward your specific life alignment. A severe family illness reframes Zoey's goals. She moves from blindly hoarding cash toward a philosophy of living rich now. She deploys her automated capital to fund her psychological priorities, purchasing a $1,200 photograph and traveling directly to the Greek islands. The micro-capital framework functions as a tool for life alignment. By automating the trivial, you reclaim the resources to fund what you actually value. The system rests on 3 core principles: paying yourself first, automating the process, and using capital to live rich today. Financial independence is a function of the mathematical architecture built around an income rather than the size of the salary itself.